Welcome back to this video series where we go turn by turn at Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition 1942 setup. We previously made moves as Japan, and then I had a follow-up video where I showed the results. Spent a little time on those. You can see them really quick over here. We'll take a look. Now it's time for the second country to go, the Soviet Union. In my kickoff video, I'd incorrectly said that the Soviet Union went first. I was looking at this part of the board thinking Germany and the Soviets, and they do in fact go before Germany, but Japan goes before them. So just a correction there. Now we are not, because we are only going through one round, we aren't going to worry about placing new units on the board, but I will comment on what I would typically buy. I did that for Japan. So for the Soviets, in a 1942 setup, you start with 24 production, which is pretty standard as far as most Axis and Allies games go. And typically, I'm going to buy probably a tank, which leaves me with or actually, let me double check. In this version of the game, tanks are still cost 5. So I'm going to go with a tank, give me a little bit of offense, and then that leaves me with 19. Well, I can either buy 6 infantry and save $1, or I can buy an artillery, give me a slightly more offensive power, and I can mix that with my infantry, and then 5 more infantry, maximizing my spend. So that is typically what I'm going to do: a tank, an artillery, and then 5 infantry. I know this move that I'm about to do is non-combat, but I'm just going to do it to get it out of the way. We're going to move this sub over to join the British fleet, and we're going to try not to knock off too much in the process. Just to give an extra unit over there. You can't block with subs in this game, so there isn't really a purpose in putting it here. Not that this fleet can get out anyway on the first turn, but I just like to put it somewhere that might get attacked, and as far as the British Navy, and you can't get it over here, you can't get it down here, so I'm just going to put it there with the largest force of their navy possible. I'm also going to go ahead and do non-combat over here just to get it out of the way. Assuming that Manchuria is somewhat defended, which we made sure it was in this case, so then I'm not going to attack it, but I will go ahead and move these guys here to put that pressure on Manchuria so that Japan has to maintain some sort of a force there. In fact, if on my second turn it looks exactly as it is now, an infantry and 2 fighters, or even 2 infantry and 2 fighters, I'm probably going to attack with this mass, because just the sheer weight of units, I only have to hit once or twice. They will hit more, but I only need to hit a handful of times with all of my units, whereas they'll have to survive round after round after round to try and clear mine out. And if I have a bad round or two, I can always withdraw and probably be okay. So I'm going to do that. Over here, I don't want to get combat and non-combat mixed up. We're pretty safe over here. There's nothing happening on this end, so we don't have to worry about it. But over here, I'm going to go ahead and do all of my combat first, and then we'll worry about non-combat. So, just like we did with Japan, I'm going to move my infantry and my artillery up first. I'm going to send these guys into there. I'm going to send these guys, at least the infantry, into there. There isn't really, with those infantry and that navy, it's going to be very difficult to hang on to Karelia and still accomplish the other things that we need to accomplish. So I'm actually going to leave that undefended. I will move that anti-aircraft gun out of the way, because Germany's going to take it on their turn, and there's no reason to leave them with that. So now I'm in a situation where Down here, the enemy has 2 2s and a 3, and I have 2 2s and 2 1s, so I'm going to need a little bit of extra support over there. I'll probably, let's see, if I send my artillery up this way, I shouldn't have any trouble taking that, which means I can free up my fighters, or my fighter and my bomber, to do other things, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Germany is likely to counterattack at least one of these territories. If they continue to control that on the end of their turn, they might attack both of them, and I don't want that to happen as the Soviet, so I'm definitely going to attack that. Ukraine down here is going to be easier for them to hit, so if possible, I want to send my air power that way and send my tanks over this way. So let's see, right now I've got 2 2s and 2 1s versus 2 2s and a 3. So I'm going to go ahead and send this fighter down here, and then I'm going to send this tank into there, and I'll send these tanks into there. In fact, I'm going to send all of my tanks in there. I'm just thinking about that Ukraine battle. If they hit 2, I'm not going to be left with much. I think that I will send one of these tanks down there, and I'm going to send the bomber into this battle right there. The territory is kind of small, so I'm not going to just drop them on top, but just for your reference, that is where that bomber is going. So we're going to hit 3 territories along the border. Our ending hope is to have our tanks in this territory over here that's going to be very difficult for Germany to counterattack. And then we're in a position where we're going to place our units, which I'm not going to simulate, but we're going to place them and land our air power down here in Caucasus. And then we'll, depending on how these battles go, then we'll see what we need to do with these forces over here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. And last time, when my phone went to standby, it automatically stopped the video. So I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded while I roll the dice and do the other stuff, and then I'll post the aftermath video here shortly.